This program is brought to you by the Koochiching Area Prevention and Education Coalition. CAPE exists to reduce youth and young adult alcohol and other drug use by promoting safe and healthy choices among all community members.
Well, good morning and welcome to Coach's Corner. As of course, you know, just as you're ready to go on the air, things don't pan out the way that you want them to. Snowy morning, folks. If you haven't looked outside yet, and I'm sure that you have, well, here we go again, and things are always crazy around here. And as long as I have a slight moment while I'm waiting to get things straightened away, I'm going to start with at least some sad news on my part. For me, personally, head coach, and I don't know how many people know Pepper Lysaker, who was the head coach at Mesabi Range for the football team for, well, 31 seasons. He passed away yesterday, and just one of the all-time great guys. He was a great football coach, but a better person, as he really kind of made things happen and work for Mesabi Range for many times. I got a chance to play for him in 88 and 89, and we got the chance to, well, play in one state championship and be champions and head to Chicago. And again, my sympathies to his family as those things being taken care of. And here comes my possible solution, as Mr. Boyle has found my bag, and we'll see if I can find the battery that I'm looking for down in here in the bottom, maybe. So everybody just bear with me for a second. There's a AAA battery, and we're going to get things started here. Must have hit the button last night as I was taking care of things. And yesterday afternoon, the Fort Frances girls volleyball team got their Norwassa Championship Series against St. Ignatius started at the Fort Frances High School. And they won their opening match in 3 sets, 25-20, 25-14, 25-17. After the match, I had a chance to talk to grade 12 outside hitter Haley Bernard, and here's that interview. Joined by Haley Barnard of the Muskie volleyball team. Were you a little surprised that this thing only went 3 sets and that you guys won fairly convincingly?
Well, I think we're a pretty good team. Yeah. We bring it when we need to, so I mean, sometimes we fall down a little bit, but we always end up bringing ourselves back up. So Coach Rowan talked to me yesterday. He told me you guys had split with St. Ignatius during the year, but you guys came back and seemed to play pretty well. What do you think the team did well today? Our team? Yeah. Well, we kept our chin up when we were down and everything, and we just keep fighting all the time. So just gave her, really. I look at some of your hitting teammates that you have on your team, and they all are a little bit taller than you. I told Coach Milliburn that's standing right next to us, I said, I'm impressed with number 4. I said, how does she do the things that you do? How do you do the things that you do? How do you find those holes in the defense? What do you do? What do you see out there? Basically, we always practice getting that hole in the middle, and there's always going to be a hole there. And before plays, just look around the court, find a hole. If they're not there, put it there. Simple enough. Yeah, basically. Congratulations on the win. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you. That was Haley Barnard joining me there from the Fort Frances girls volleyball team, and they played match 2 this morning at 10 a.m. at the high school over there in Fort Frances. A win there, and they head off to the OFSAs next week in Windsor, Ontario. And I'll have an interview with the head coach of the Muskie volleyball team, Dwayne Rowan. That will come up at around 9:30. Fort Frances boys basketball team also playing in the Norwassa final, the best of 3 series. They lost to St. Ignatius yesterday, 58-43. Game 2 just got underway in Thunder Bay. The Muskies need to win, or that series will be over. The Bronco boys basketball team played another tight back-and-forth contest last night. They've been in a bunch of them lately. It just seems like that is the way things are going. This time they were on the road at Deer River. The Broncos led 56-50 with about 4.5 minutes remaining in the basketball game. However, the Warriors came back, defeated the Broncos 60-58 was the final. Max Olson led the Broncos with 21 points. Armando Barrios with 14. Noah Mathis, the lone Bronco wrestler, high school wrestler this season, he's taking part in the Section
7 2A individual meet that's going on down in Hibbing. Yesterday he lost to number 1 seed by a technical fall 16-1 at 2:51 of that match against Zach Newman of Hibbing. He wrestles in the wrestlebacks, and he gets started at about 10 a.m. this morning. Shouldn't be long after 10 o'clock when Noah has his first match. The LBF girls basketball team played their final regular season game last night. Pardon me. And they were at North Home Kellier, and they led 28-27 at the half. They built a 10-point lead early in the second half. However, they could not hang on, and they lose by a final score of 57-51. Emily Fairchild had 15, Kenzie Swenson 14, and Destiny Pekarski had 11. The Vikings finished their regular season with a 9-14 record, and in my estimation, if I read the QRF right, and if nothing interesting happens this morning, and sometimes interesting things happen with the QRF, I think Little Fork Big Falls will end up as the number 12 seed when all the tiebreakers are said and done, and they would be off, I believe, to number 5 Floodwood on Wednesday for a round of 16 game. We'll have that game for you on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. We should know officially before we go off the air what seed the Vikings have, so stay tuned towards the end of the show. We'll get it all caught up for you and let you know exactly what's happening with the LBF Vikings girls basketball team. The boys from Little Fork Big Falls were also in action last night. They were at home taking on North Home Kellier, playing them as well, and they lost by a final score of 86-50. Girls State Hockey Tournament is going on in the semifinals yesterday. Breck all over Mount West Tonka 11-1. Warroad came back after they trailed 2-1 to Proctor Hermantown to score 4 third-period goals, and they beat Proctor Hermantown by a score of 5-2. Third place game between Mount West Tonka and Proctor Hermantown got started probably just seconds ago, I would guess, down at XL Energy Center. The championship game is at 4 o'clock today between Warroad and Breck. In Class AA last night in the semifinals, Brainerd Little Falls scored about 11, 15 something seconds. I never saw the time and never heard how many seconds it was into overtime as they beat Andover 3-2. In overtime, Edina in the late game 2-1 over Minnetonka. So the third place game at 11 a.m. this morning between Andover and Minnetonka, and the 7 o'clock championship game tonight between Edina and Brainerd Little Falls. In boys hockey, Section 7 2A and 7A semifinals at Amsoil Arena this afternoon and this evening. And this afternoon's double A matchups at noon, Elk River versus Andover, and then the northern matchup, Cloquet Esco Carleton takes on Duluth East at 2 o'clock. In the single A tonight, number 1 Hermantown takes on number 4 Virginia at 6 o'clock, and then number 2 versus number 3 and Denfeld versus Greenway at 8 o'clock. That should be a dandy, and if you want to listen, pardon me, I know the second game of that Class A semifinal can be heard on KOZY FM, KOZYradio.com. So if you are computer savvy, you should be able to listen to the game, and I suspect that with the weather, that's exactly how I will be doing it as well. And girls basketball last night, Hibbing beats Cloquet 58-42. Hibbing ends their regular season 24-2. Oh, good job by the Blue Jackets there. Ely 63, Southridge 57. Grand Rapids 6 points better than Thief River Falls. MIB loses their regular season finale to Heritage Christian 55-54 at home. Will that cost the Mountain Iron Buell Rangers the number 1 seed? Could they be the number 2 seed? It's going to be very interesting when that QRF comes out in a few moments. And I would say in a mild upset last night, Virginia over Mesabi East in girls basketball 73-69. Big slate in boys basketball as they've got 1 week remaining in their regular season. Cook County edges Nashua Keewatin 69-62. Cloquet loses to Bemidji 75-55. Fond du Lac over Carleton 80-53. Northwoods, number 1 in Section 7A. Got to believe that's going to be happening. They beat Chisholm 77-42. Crosby Ironton, how good are they again this year? They beat DL 49-35. Duluth Denfeld all over Proctor 60-39. Evelyn Gilbert loses to Big Fork 76-72. Hibbing, the boys team, also very good from Hibbing, 85-44 over Moose Lake Willow River. Two Harbors 64, McGregor 49, Ely 70-51 over Southridge. Aiken 61, Staples Motley 25, and Jordan. Here's a little sidelight for you people who are basketball nuts out there. Jordan 70, LeSueur Henderson 52. The Jordan Hubman now are 19-3 under former Bronco head coach Matt Urbanic, and he's got his team looking like they got a very good chance to make the state tournament once again. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, it would be the third trip to state for Jordan since Matt Urbanic got there. Minnesota Wild were at Detroit last night. They got first period goals from Cunnin and Greenway to take a 2-0 lead. They hang on for the 3-2 win on the road. Timberwolves are also on the road. They were at New York last night. They beat the Knicks 115-104. No Karl Anthony Towns after his auto accident on Thursday. He did get on the plane. He's going through the concussion protocol. We'll see how things go. Derrick Rose has 20. Taj Gibson had 17 to lead the Wolves. And the Wolves are at Milwaukee tonight. Milwaukee, the best team in the East, and they'll have their hands full if Cat is not back in the lineup. Big news from the Minnesota Twins yesterday is they signed Marwin Gonzalez to a 2-year, $21 million contract. That's a lot of money for a utility player, but he's played the last 7 seasons with Houston. He played every position last year for the Houston Astros except pitcher and catcher. So that kind of tells you the Twins are looking at, hey, we need a guy who can kind of go play everywhere when things are going wrong. Batted about .247 last year, so his batting average may not be the greatest, but you got to have a guy who can play elsewhere. College hockey last night in the Big Ten, Notre Dame 3, Minnesota 2, Penn State 8-2 over Wisconsin, Michigan 4-2 over Ohio State, and the NCHC last night, Miami upsets Denver 3-1, UND upsets UMD 4-1, Western Michigan 5-4 over Colorado College, and number 1 in the nation, St. Cloud State 4-1. Over Omaha. In the WCHA last night, Bemidji State lost to Bowling Green 3-1, and Mankato beat Alaska 6-1. Women's hockey, this is the last week of their regular season in the WCHA. Wisconsin, number 1 in the nation, gets tied by Ohio State at 1. Minnesota over Bemidji State 6-3, and UMD and Mankato tie at 5. What's going on locally today? Well, I talked to you about that the Muskie girls volleyball team playing at 10. If they win that match, they don't need the 2 o'clock match, but if they lose at 10 o'clock, they got to play the third game of that best-of-3 series at 2 o'clock. Same story for the Muskie boys. They already got started in their boys basketball game over in Thunder Bay against St. Ignatius. If they win that 9 o'clock game, they get to play again at 1 o'clock. The Bronco boys basketball team is on the road at Greenway at 4:30. Mentioned Noah Mathis and his wrestling down in Hibbing in the Section 7 2A meet. The Bronco boys swimming and diving, they had their preliminaries on Thursday. Today, diving at 11 a.m. at Grand Rapids, and then finals and everything starting at 3 o'clock. The fishing derby is going on today. I don't know, is the snow a good sign for good fishing? My dad always said, get out there when it's raining, so well, get out there when it's snowing and see if you can win a prize. Coverage on K104 this afternoon from 12:30 to 4:30. The Fort Francis Lakers will be at home against the Minnesota Iron Rangers at a 7:30 game, and something tells me that game could be very contentious after the game that was heard on our airwaves on Monday. There was some bad blood between those two teams, and you could see more of it boil over tonight. So, hey, if you're into that kind of stuff, maybe head on over to Ice for Kids Arena for that 7:30 game. The Rainy River men's and women's basketball teams are in Central Lakes today in Brainerd to take on Central Lakes today at 1 and 3 o'clock. Central Lakes men have the Northern Division wrapped up. The women for Central Lakes are looking to get in the mix. Both Rainy River men's and women's basketball teams, despite what happens today and tomorrow against Fond du Lac, they're going to be playing in the region tournament next week, but sure would be nice to be going in with a pair of wins. The Rainy River women's hockey team gets on the ice tonight at Cary Park at 6 o'clock. They're back on the Cary Park ice tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Twin spring trading, split squad games today. Baltimore at noon and Tampa Bay at 5 o'clock. Already mentioned that the Timberwolves at Milwaukee tonight for a game against the Bucks. Tomorrow, what's going on? Well, I mentioned the Rainy River women's hockey team will be hosting Michigan Tech at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. The Rainy River men's and women's basketball teams will be at home for a rare Sunday match. This is a game that had to be rescheduled. The women at 1 o'clock, the men at 3 o'clock. Final chance to see Rainy River men's and women's basketball teams at home. That happens tomorrow at 1 and 3 o'clock. The Fort Francis girls hockey team up in Kenora at 3:30 tomorrow against St. Thomas Aquinas, and they're deciding Game 3 to see who's going to make it out of the semifinals. Thought I was going to be going up there, but I'm not going up there. I wish I was. I'll be following along online. Twins, we'll have them on the airwaves tomorrow on KGHS starting at noon as they take on Boston. Remember, you can hear the Twins all season long. some preseason, some spring training games, but all season long. They're going to be on 12:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM, not on 104 this coming season. So make sure you find out that. And then the Wild will be on as they take on St. Louis, also on 12:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM. That pregame starts at 5:45. Gopher men, big one at Rutgers. They need a win here tonight, folks. At 5:30, that game's on BTN. Absolutely, positively need to come up with a win there in this person's mind. Former Broncos, Lexi Edwards, with the Sacred Heart women's hockey team. They're in the NEWHA semifinals tonight as they take on Franklin Pierce. Amber Thielander with the St. Scholastica women's hockey team. They got a 5-1 win over Concordia of Wisconsin last night in game 1 of their 2-game and then a mini-game possibly series there. So Amber Thielander looking to get to the semifinals and finals next week with a win this afternoon. Lucas DeBenedict had his college career ended last weekend with the Northland College team out of Ashland, Wisconsin. Remember, they beat Marion on Friday night, but they lost on Saturday night, forcing a 20-minute mini-game, and there was only one goal scored in that mini-game, and it was by Marion to win 1-0. Kiana Kittleson and Marissa Carey with the Rainy River women's hockey team playing against Michigan Tech this weekend. Lexi Erickson in the UMAC championships this weekend in indoor track and field that is taking place in Duluth. She's the conference champion in the high jump, folks, with a leap of 5 feet, a quarter inch. She took 6th place in the 400-meter run. Wyatt Almdahl, he's taking part in the MIAC championships that are taking part at St. Olaf today. He comes into the pole vault seated number 2 as a freshman. What an accomplishment there. Competition begins at 12:30 this afternoon. Emma Gilbert, last week, her last regular season meet, she threw 44.8 in the shot put. She threw 45.6 in the weight throw, and she takes part in the Summit League Championship today. She is seated 12th in the conference shot put. Wyatt Ulrich with the St. John's baseball team, he gets his season started next Monday. And Gage Worley with the Valley City baseball team, he gets his season started on Saturday. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk girls basketball. You're listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Well, welcome back to Coach's Corner, here for our second segment. I know I'm looking at the clock. I can't believe the second segment is starting at 9:23. That's nuts, folks. But we're joined by members of the girls basketball team, and Libby Miggins, I'll even say her name correctly for the first time, at least for the first time. Give me that back here for a second. All right, say again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Chloe Sullivan, Holly Wold, Grace Gilbert. Head coach Jay Boyle, a surprise in the house this morning. I was not expecting him to be here. I figured he'd be like running a dog at like Brainerd or Bemidji somewhere this morning, but he's here, so
have the week off.
He has the week off. Well, Coach, let's start with you. We'll put the microphone in your hand over there, and well, the regular season is completed.
Yep.
About what you expected?
I had hoped that we were going to be 500. We ended up 1 game under. There's a few games that we would have liked to have back in there, but this group had, a lot of learning to do as we came in. A lot of the girls hadn't had a ton of varsity experience or starting varsity experience, and a lot of these girls here ended up playing the, almost every minute all year. So there was a lot of learning that had to be done, and then losing Lib there for the majority of the season. Hopefully is going to have us stronger at the end here with a lot of playing time that other girls had while she was gone. So
didn't want to do anything that her brother hadn't done, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
He tore stuff. I did not.
Well, if you might recall, Cole tore his Achilles tendon, and you did what? How would you explain your injury? Do you have the
I have the technical name.
Yeah, what is it called?
An eversion sprain.
Eversion
Yeah.
sprain.
Okay. So basically, it's just your foot goes outwards instead of turning inwards towards your other foot.
So that's not that sounds painful, and it was, right?
Yeah, really bad.
Really bad.
It's lingering. It can be longer than doing it the other way. So.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So let's talk about Thursday night's game. Maybe, Coach, one of those games that you talked about that you'd like to have been in the other column. It was a close game, though, for the most part, and then things just slipped away at the end.
Well, they played a really good defense on us. They have, they started 4 girls that were all over 5'10" and moved very well in their 1-3-1. And, it's not even that our shots were off or anything like that, but they made it very tough. I think we could have moved the ball a little quicker at times, but they played a really tough defense on us. So at the end, we were stuck at about 37 points, and we had to do we had to try to do some different things to generate some offense, and they ended up hitting their free throws and things like that. So we could have held them to 46 points. The problem was we could only get 39 up on the board. So and they ended up at 52 because we were trying some other things. But so that was the deal. We could have held them. We were okay defending them, but they played a tough defense too, and we couldn't put enough points in the basket to win.
Grace, let's talk about one game this season that is a positive memory. Well, maybe the best memory so far from the regular season. Which game is it going to be?
I think the Little Fork game the second time around when we played at home. It was our parents' night, but I feel like we all just played really good, and we had just everyone on the team got to see the court and score a little bit. So I think that was the best one probably.
Holly Wold, how about for you? What game sticks out in your mind?
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah, definitely Little Fork. It's always a fun competition against them because we know them.
Chloe, what do you got for me?
I'm gonna have to say that game too. It was a fun experience to play against them. I mean, we lost. We didn't lose, but the first game we played over Christmas break,
yeah,
it was tough. They put up a good fight against us, and it was just fun on Parents' Night to take the win against them. And
all right,
we'll see what happens next year.
All right, Midge, you didn't get to play a whole lot of games, so the statistics, the number of games, the data points to pick from are quite less. And I'm telling you, you can't pick that game. So give me a different one.
No, I wasn't going to pick that game.
Good, because I've been waiting for the other game to be talked about.
Booth Marshall.
Yeah.
So
that's the one Tim wants to know about.
That was the first game I felt like I was actually back and I could actually do the things that I wanted to do. And it was a game that we all came out and we had high energy before the game. So double overtime and coming off a win after a number 2 seed win, it feels great.
I was on the road getting text updates and freaking out that I should have been someplace else, but you do what you can and you do a Bronco boys basketball game, and so you're someplace else. Okay, let's take one game that we'd like to say if we could have done this, it would have been a different story. I think I know where you're going to start, Midgie. Well, maybe I don't.
Okay, the Deer River one, I wish we could have came out. We knew we had to rebound and stuff, but we kind of came out and I felt like our heads weren't necessarily ready to play.
Okay.
And when we come out ready and all excited and stuff, we play way better, and our energy just kind of wasn't there before the game.
Grace, how about for you? One game that you'd like to have back?
I'm going to say the second time we played Virginia.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have, I don't know, I feel like we're all kind of just hanging our heads about it still because that's a team that we needed to beat and that we should have beat, but sometimes it just slips away, so.
Chloe, how about for you? One game.
I don't know. The Deer River game was pretty tough. I mean, boxing out just wasn't there. They had that big girl, and you had to work hard against her, but we just kind of all shut down, and not all of us, but I know, me particularly, I shut down and just got in my head,
Sure.
So the big girl put up a fight, but so did we.
Holly, how about for you?
I'm going to have to say the Eveleth games. I mean, we're definitely capable of beating them, but every time we play them, we just can't seem to get it. It's always close, though. So.
Coach, how about for you? One game that out of those, or maybe a different one that you kind of look at and say, geez, that one slipped away from us.
I really wanted the Big Fork win earlier this year. I thought that was a team we definitely could have beat, and and that when the offense was there, but we just couldn't shut Kaya Tower, right?
Yeah.
Down as much as we should have. Another one that was early in the season. That was game 4, I think it was, or 5, and their girls. The girls that they had, Kai and Brianna and them, start playing a lot of varsity the last few years. That's a game that I wish would have been later in the season because I feel now we could have taken care of business better against them. And that's a team we haven't beaten in a while, so that's one I wanted that wish we could get back.
Holly brought up the Eveleth games. I want to bring up Eveleth. What's going on with Eveleth Gilbert? They were like world beaters early in the season, and then things aren't going so well. And I thought a week ago, Coach, that's who you were going to be playing in the playoffs, and I was like, they're not playing very well. We're going to get them in the first round of the playoffs. Things are looking good, but
and I was hoping for them for the first round in the playoffs because, like the girls said, that's 2 games that we think we could have win, should have win, and I was looking forward to playing them because I wanted to beat Eveleth this year. So now it's looking like it's not going to shake out that way anymore, but. I'm not sure. I could speculate, but probably shouldn't do that about why they're playing at this point in the year. So.
Yeah, we don't have to be whatever about that. You're updating your phone over there. Have they updated the QRF yet? I'm freaking out over here because you want to know, I want to know.
No, I'm hitting update about every 15 seconds here, hoping that it's going to come out so we can talk about it for sure.
Okay, well, fair enough. So who do we want to play? If we had our choice, Libby Miggins, first round of playoffs, Thursday, 7 o'clock, who do we want to be playing?
I have two choices. I want to play Eveleth because that's the game that I got hurt. And so I still want to have my payback. I had one game against them, and I want to beat them. I want to beat them.
I can understand that. I thought that was going to be the low point for you when I asked that question a few moments ago.
It's a sensitive subject.
It's a sensitive subject. I get it. And who's the other team?
Duluth Marshall. I think we can take it.
Chloe, how about for you? Who do you want to see on Thursday? If you had the magic pen and could change the QRF and say this is who we're playing, who would it be?
Well, I do think we could beat Eveleth. But I agree with Libby. Like Duluth Marshall, I think we're going to be coming up playing them. They do have two girls that one wasn't there last time, but we have Libby, and if we all just play hard and give it our best, then I think we could take them.
Okay, which player was missing, Coach, from the Duluth Marshall game? Because go ahead, Grace.
Grace Kirk.
Okay, and so she's the point guard, right? She's the girl that came over from Duluth Denfeld. Help me.
She's the girl that came over from Duluth Denfeld. She's a junior. She's a very good player. Not as much as an outside shooter as the one that was there. She's more of the driver and the slasher and that. So, going into that game, and I assume they still, they had two girls that were averaging 30 points a night. The one that was there through 2 overtimes was able to put up 51 on us. But I'm going to let Grace say what she said at practice yesterday about that.
Oh, all right. I like this. I like the inside information.
Yeah. Well, Boyle said that we're probably going to end up playing Duluth Marshall.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're thinking right now. But I said if they have both of their girls back, that just means that the other one can't score 50 points on us because they're going to have to
share the ball, right?
A little bit more than they did the first time around.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Coach.
The way I look at it, and I don't have the stats in front of me, obviously, but I'm guessing that she scored with over 80% efficiency on possessions. So, we already saw them play just about as good as they can play, even though it was only the one girl there. So, even with the two of them, the biggest thing, as long as we don't let them beat us in transition, I like our chances in that game again.
Well, in my mind, the best way to stop a team in transition is to make buckets. You just got to go down and make buckets because then they can't make transitions. So take care of it on the offensive floor, and that'll take care of it on the defensive end of the floor. That's backwards of what everybody usually says. Take care of things on the defensive end of the floor, and it leads to offense. So let's make some buckets, Libby.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard that before? Well, look at here. You come to hear great things, Libby. Isn't that what it's all about? Okay, so if we get the number 6 seed, that's where we're thinking. It looks like it's going to be Duluth Marshall. And if they've got Grace Kirk back and everything, what do you see as the way to stop those two girls? What is it? You saw them previously. What's going to be the key the second time? Because everybody, I think everybody'd love to see a rematch. It went 85-80 double overtime. So what's the key? What's the number one thing we got to do?
Cover those two girls.
Cover those two girls. How? So we're gonna play a triangle in 2. We're gonna junk it up.
We're gonna junk it up.
And you're going to get Grace Kirk?
You bet.
And you're going to shut her down?
Yep.
You're going to hold her to like 12 points?
8.
8? See? That's the attitude.
I had said 15 yesterday, so I like this. That's good.
That's the attitude. And then, of course, the Neepkins girl, the one who scored 51 points last time, who's going to get the responsibility? Holly Wold's laughing over there. She must be the guilty party, the one who has the chance to do this.
Yep.
Okay, so what's the key to shutting down Neepkins?
I don't know. She's a good shot. We just got to stay on her, and I have help behind me, so if she gets open, hopefully one of my teammates will cover.
We worked on that yesterday.
Are you guys going to try to do like some major league voodoo where you guys might like to? Grace is laughing. What are you going to do, Grace? What are we doing? We're not going to kill a chicken like they wanted to do in Major League. What are we going to do to put the hex on her?
In practice, last night we had a really good practice. There was just a lot of energy, and we were all looking forward to the first round playoffs because it's all or nothing, So we talked about. Sorry, Libby. We talked about.
Is that your line?
Really jumping the screens and just being there to help out Holly and Libby when they've got those two girls. So I don't know, last night just really like set the mood for how we want to play in playoffs.
3 more. Go ahead, Coach.
The other thing I was going to say is, like when we did it in the last game too. So we're probably going to start Libby on Grace and Holly on Gianna, but just like the last game, we were able to. We have quite a few girls that can stick on them enough, especially with the help in the zone behind them. So we were actually able to rotate that through who was on, because like Holly usually doesn't come off the floor, so we were able to stick, Libby or Grace, whoever was coming off fresh, or Maddie Lowe coming off the bench is another player we use in that man defensive spot, and let Holly be in the zone a little more, so just a little more of a break for us. So that is something I feel like we have the ability to do. I feel like we have a few girls that we can put on them that I feel confident about being able to take that initial responsibility with the help behind them. So allow us to rotate that through and hopefully stay on top of them, be able to wear them out more than we get worn out.
This team will find out tomorrow morning between 9 and 10 o'clock, somewhere along the way, when the QRF becomes official, who they're going to play. And again, we'll have that game for you guys on Thursday. Well, like I said, probably from Duluth. That's what we're thinking. That's the way it's looking right now. That game to start at 7 o'clock, the pregame right around 6:35. Ladies, I wish you best of luck. I might even be there. Would that be a good thing?
Yes,
Yeah, you should be there.
I think I've only got to watch you guys play about 4 times. So if you felt like I was nosing around about the games and maybe whatever, I didn't get to watch a whole bunch this year. So hopefully I'll get it. Maggie, she's just shaking her head at me in disappointment. I'm sorry, I can't be everywhere. You know that little guy that you like so much. I got to see him every once in a while too.
Yeah, he's
Guilt. Libby Miggins, Chloe Sullivan, Holly Wold, Grace Gilbert, and head coach Dave Boyle joining me here. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with an interview I recorded on Thursday with the head coach of the Fort Francis girls volleyball team, Dwayne Rowan. You're listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner here as I am talking with the head coach of the Fort Francis Muskie girls volleyball team, head coach Dwayne Rowan. Coach, it's been quite the season for your ladies. You guys have been very, very successful.
It's been a great season. We finished our league 7-1 and almost got the sweep, but fell a little bit short there last week. But
was that something that the girls really wanted, or was it something with that last match? You guys were 7-0 in the Norwassa, and you guys said, "Well, we're the number 1 seed. We can play some other kids." What was maybe the attitude going into that game?
Well, the biggest problem is we got ahead of ourselves a little bit, and we had leads at times, and we got a little complacent. We kind of held back, and where we shouldn't have. We should, seal the deal and finish the game, and we didn't. And Dryden was able to come back at us. So our biggest opponent last week on Tuesday was ourselves. So we had a long chat about that, or a couple of them actually, and we were able to turn that around on Friday and get our 3-game sweep. And
is it tough coming in as the number 1? There's 3 teams, so everybody knows, 3 teams in the Norwassa tournament. Those 2 teams, the second and third place team, play in the morning. You guys got to kind of sit around all day and then play in the evening, and the other team's already played. Is that difficult, or is that easy for a team that's sitting in the number 1 seed?
It can be tough to sit all day. We were lucky. We were able to hold off and not travel down until the afternoon. Okay. So it allowed us to relax. The kids had to go to school, of course, but we were able to leave at lunch and get there and have about an hour before our game started. So that really helped when you can do that. That didn't happen last year. We were on the road at 6 a.m. and sure. That's a long day.
That is a long day. Talk about why your team is so successful. What do they do that makes it difficult for other teams?
We have a lot of height this year. We have a lot of tall players, really solid athletes, and our reading and reacting has really improved this season. And we can pound the ball, and when we're in system, things go really well. So our focus all year has been, you hear it on TV all the time, to play our game or to play our style of volleyball. Sure. And as long as we can maintain that style of volleyball, we've been successful against every team we've played.
I always talk about serve receive being one of the biggest things. Talk about who plays out of your back row that gets things started and gets things to the setter.
Pascal Short-Reed has played really well this year. She's our middle attacker, but also very versatile. She can pass the ball. She's the captain of our team and really gets the team energized and motivated and ready to go. We are lucky, though. We have a lot of players. I'd say every player on my team can get the ball to the setter. So that's helped us be so successful this season.
So 1 or 2 setters do you have?
We just have one one setter this year, Alina Eldridge. She's been running all our offense this year and been doing a great job of it. We have a couple of other setters that we don't use as much, but she is our dominant.
Is she a grade 12 or is she coming back?
She's grade 12, so we've got a couple setters we've been working with as well. Jamie Spencer's been playing a right side hitter and setter, and Simone Payne also has been playing as a setter on and off. In practice mostly, not so much in games, but very nice hands. So certainly, and we have some juniors coming up next year as well that can really step into that role. So.
Okay. Talk about all this height. You said you got some tall girls. Who are the tall girls that you go to, and especially somebody who you're looking to if you need a point to get back in or stop some momentum. Who's your setter looking for to go to and get that point?
We've been running a lot of our offense out of the middle, using our middle attackers, quite tall. Pascal, Grace Petsnick also tall, and Jamie Spencer on the right side, tall as well. We also have Katrina Slomke. Those kids are all hovering, between 5'11" and 6 feet. So, they can really get up there and swing at the ball, and they're really hard to defend because a lot of times I'm watching these kids hit over top of the block. So as long as we keep the ball in bounds,
things are going in the right.
Good.
So with all that height, I would think the defense has got to be very good as well. Very tough to get past you as well with all that height, and I'm sure you defend against the kills as well.
We're trying our best to make sure that our block gets up there to funnel the ball where we want it to go, so we have an opportunity to get the ball back up. And when we're out of system a bit, Alina's been great, to drive halfway across the court and pump the ball out to the pin for a swing. So we work really hard to try to get the ball to her, but when we're not, she always when they touch the ball, they make the ball better. And every touch is a little bit better, and so we can make and execute at the net.
St. Ignatius coming out of Thunder Bay, coming here to Fort Frances to play you guys here. What do you know about them?
St. Ignatius, they're similar to us in style. They have a few tall players as well. They've got strength on the left side. They've got a tall middle attacker. Good serving, a good setter as well. So we're kind of match up evenly in that respect. We've played them twice. Once early on in the season. We lost to them. There was a round robin game way back in December. So we regrouped the next weekend and won the tournament up in Thunder Bay. We played them one more time, and I played the crew that I wanted to match up if we were to see them here this weekend, and we were successful against them at that juncture. So
it's going to be an awesome 3-game series here. It starts on Friday night Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So when people hear this interview, it'll be just about go time as we listen to this on Saturday morning. So what are your expectations? Is this something where these two teams are so close? Do you think it's going to go 3 games, or is this something where one of those teams might have an advantage, or is it flip a coin and see what happens?
Based on the way we've been playing this year, I'd say we're a little up on the advantage that way. As long as we can play our style of game, kids can get the ball to the setter. I think we'll have a great weekend.
Playing at home also helps.
Playing at home helps.
So how can people, I think I saw something, I was coming in the door over to the gym, they can see this on YouTube?
The game will be streamed. Go to the Fort Frances website. I believe you can find it through that point. If not, contact the school tomorrow, and I'm sure they'll let you know where the web link will be.
It's one of those exciting times. Where's the offices? If you make it past, if you win this weekend, where are you heading off to?
We are heading to Windsor.
Ooh, that's just not too far away.
Yeah, right across the road from Detroit.
Right across the road from Detroit. Probably about 15, 16 hours by bus, I suspect?
Well, as far as I know, it's going to be 2 flights.
Two flights?
We'll fly to Toronto and then fly to Windsor.
Oh.
So.
Well, that works out real nice.
Better for me, for sure.
So when does that occur?
That'll occur the following Saturday. So a week from Saturday, we would head out. We play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and back Thursday.
Coach, I appreciate the time. Best of luck.
All right, thank you very much.
Head coach Dwayne Roan and joining me here. We'll take another break and we'll come back with more Coach's Corner. You're listening on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Yeah, welcome back to Hardy's here for our final segment. We'll wrap it up as I always try to do with the week in review and the week that is coming up.
if you're watching on Minnesota-Scores.net, folks, like I have been during the interview with head coach Dwayne Rowan, thanks to him, and during the commercials, the QRF has changed twice since that interview has started, and I thought I had it all set. It was going to be done. He was just going through, but it changed again here in the last minute or so, and it looked like Cromwell Wright is going to move ahead. MIB is not going to be the number 1 seed this year, folks. Cromwell Wright is going to be the number 1 seed. It looks like in Section 7A. Just moments ago, Little Fort, Big Fort was in 12th place. Now they're in 10th place, but with the tiebreaker, I'm almost sure they're going to be ending up in 12th. If you want to find out, I'll post it on Facebook, on the Vikings Facebook page, as soon as I find out, as soon as this becomes official, also on my Twitter account. So if you're curious after we go off the air, we'll get you up to date there and let you know exactly what's happening. But again, I suspect that it will be Floodwood that the Vikings will be going to on Wednesday for a 7 o'clock game, but we'll wait to see how it all comes out. Last Saturday, the Bronco Boys hockey team had their season come to an end in the play-in game of the Section 7A tournament with a 4-3 loss to Ely Northeast Range. Also on Saturday, the Bronco Boys basketball team led much of the game over in Roseville, but they end up falling by a final score of 84-74. The Bronco girls were also over there taking on the defending state AA champions Roseville, and the girls dropped an 88-39 score there. Rainy River women's basketball team defeated Vermilion 100-45. Deja Monroe led the way with 30 points. The Rainy River men beat Vermilion 93-84. Cedric Harris had 26 points, and that was Paul McDonald's last home game, the longtime head coach up there at Vermilion. The Pee Wee A's from International Falls took third place on Sunday morning as they took on Eveleth Gilbert, and they advanced to the North Region. That was a 5-1 final, and they advanced to the North Region tournament that's going to be held in Hermantown on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you haven't heard, folks, we are going to be bringing you the second game of that tournament. They play at 1 o'clock on Friday, and unfortunately I can't make that game at 1 o'clock. There's job considerations to worry about. However, the game on Saturday, when they play that game on Saturday, we will have that game on the air for you. It'll be on KGHS 12:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM. So start spreading the word. Pee Wee A region game next Saturday morning on the air. Monday, the Lakers battled their way to a 6-2 win over the Minnesota Iron Rangers in a game that was heard on KGHS 12:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM. It was a battle, folks, and again, they rematch tonight at Ice for Kids Arena at 7:30. I'll tell you, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be testy, for lack of a better term. Mackenzie Flett had a pair of goals in that game on Monday. On Tuesday, the Lakers traveled to Thunder Bay to take on the division-leading North Stars. And the Fort Francis Lakers, led 1-0 after one period. However, the North Stars would score 6 times in the second, 2 more in the third, on their way to an 8-1 win. The Bronco Boys basketball team got 24 points from Chloe Sullivan, 16 from Grace Gilbert, and a 60-21 win over Warward on Tuesday. The Bronco Boys in a home game against Two Harbors, they never trailed in that game, and it was very exciting. I was there, and it was real close. The final score really doesn't show how close it was. 82-62 the win. 22 points and 5 threes for Taylor Wilson, and Cullen Rain had 15 points for the Broncos. The LBF boys lost to Mesabi East 87-32 on Tuesday. The LBF girls lost to Northwoods 57-55. This is the second time in this week that they've played a tight game and ended up coming up short for the Viking girls. The LBF girls had 2 free throws with 2 seconds left, down 57-55. Missed the first one, go to miss the second one, had purposely missed the second one, hope for the rebound. Did not happen. Destiny Pekarski had 15 points for Kenzie Swenson. Fort Francis girls hockey team opened the Norwassa semifinals as the number 3 seed on Tuesday. They were on the road at number 2 St. Thomas Aquinas of Kenora. The Muskies opened up a 2-0 lead. Forced over the game, went to overtime, tied at 3. Jill Calder, scored for the Muskies with 17.7 seconds left in the overtime for a 4-3 win for Fort Francis. Catherine Fisher had a pair of goals for the Muskies. On Wednesday, the Rainy River men's basketball team defeated Itasca 90-77, scored 57 points in the second half. Trey Jones led all the Voyagers with 26 points. The Rainy River women also routed Itasca 99-45. Gianna Thomas, I'm going to say Gianna Thomas, 25, Deja Monroe, and Miosha Peterson each had 23. The Muskie boys took 11 minor penalties in their opening game with St. Thomas Aquinas on Wednesday at Ice for Kids Arena. and the Saints capitalized. They went 3 for 9 on the power play. However, the Muskies were able to overcome that and get a 6-3 win in Game 1 of that Norwassa semifinal. Mike Ward had a hat trick for the Muskies. On Thursday, the Bronco girls basketball team closed out their regular season with a 54-39 loss at Deer River. Libby Megan 17, Grace Gilbert 11, as the Broncos end the regular season with a 12-13 record. The LBF girls finished up their home slate of games on Thursday night, defeating Fond du Lac 66-28. Destiny Pekarski 20, Danielle Pekarski had 14. The Fort Frances boys hockey team wrapped up their 3-game series with St. Thomas Aquinas on the road on Thursday afternoon as they came away with a 5-4 win. Matt Spence had a pair of goals versus the Saints, but the Saints, trailing 5-2, pulled their goaltender with just under 2 minutes remaining. They scored, pulled the goaltender again, scored again, made it 5-4. It was very interesting up there. But the Muskie boys are on to the Norwassa Championship Series final. That begins Wednesday night on KGHS 12:30 a.m. as they are taking on Sioux North in a rematch of last year's series that went 3 games and triple overtime in the 3rd game, folks. It's going to be a dandy series. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fort Frances girls on Thursday, hockey team, they lost 2-1 on home ice to St. Thomas Aquinas. That evens that series at 1 game, forcing the deciding Game 3 on Sunday afternoon. Ashlyn Beck scored the lone goal for the Muskies in that game. The boys swimming and diving team, the swimmers were down in Grand Rapids for the Section 6A preliminary meet, and these guys made the A finals that take place today at 3 o'clock. Will Serrano took 5th in the 200 IM, 3rd in the 100 free. Top 4 qualify for state, so Serrano sitting with a chance if he gets keeps that seed spot to get a chance to go to state. Alex Bissonette just 6th in the 100 fly, just out of the mix there, could get in there. Jake Slatinsky 5th in the 500 free, and Ed Serrano 8th in the 100 breaststroke. Yesterday, Fort Frances girls volleyball team got a 3-set win over St. Ignatius in their 3 best-of-3 series in the NWASA finals, and they won 25-20, 25-14, and 25-17. Match 2 gets started in just moments over at Fort Frances High School. I think I'm going to be heading there, I hope. Fort Frances boys basketball team, they lost to St. Ignatius 58-43 in Game 1 yesterday. Game 2 should just about be coming to an end. I have been unable to get an update on the score of that game, but if they win, the Muskies win that game, they force a Game 3 that will start at 1 o'clock. The Bronco boys basketball team led by 6 points with 4.5 minutes remaining on the road at Deer River, but lost 60-58 as Max Olson led the Broncos with 21. Noah Mathis will be getting back underway at the Section 7-2A individual wrestling meet here in a few moments. He lost yesterday to the number 1 seed Zach Newman out of Hibbing, and he'll be taking part in the wrestlebacks, and as long as he keeps winning, he gets a chance to keep wrestling, and he will also, if he loses, his season comes to an end. The LBF girls basketball team lost to North Home Kellier 57-51, and the LBF boys lost to North Home Kellier 86-50. What's coming up this week? Today, a busy day. The Muskie girls volleyball team and the boys basketball team, of course, I just mentioned, underway. The fishing derby is going on locally today. Coverage on K104 from 12:30 to 4:30, so you can find out if you want a prize. The Bronco boys basketball team on the road at Greenway today for a 4:30 makeup game that was supposed to be played back in late January, so that's a different time of the day there. The Lakers, as I mentioned, will be at home tonight against Minnesota Iron Rangers at 7:30 at Ice for Kids Arena. The Rainy River men's and women's basketball teams, the men's team just left Hardee's here on their way to Brainerd for that 3 o'clock game. The women play at 1 o'clock, and there's been a change to the Rainy River women's hockey team. Michigan Tech not going to be making the trip, so I got to look and make sure I have my text message right here from AD Mel Millerbrun. They play tonight at 6 o'clock against the Fort Frances Chiefs, and then tomorrow they will play an alumni game at 5 o'clock at Bronco Arena. So that gets you up to date on the Rainy River women's hockey team not playing Michigan Tech this weekend. And what's going on tomorrow? Fort Frances girls hockey team game 3 of that best of 3 semifinals up in Kenora at 3:30 tomorrow. Rainy River men's and women's basketball teams will be at home at 1 and 3 o'clock to wrap up their regular seasons at 1 and 3 o'clock. No games on Monday, if you can believe that, a Monday in February. No games going on Tuesday. The Bronco boys will wrap up their regular season with a home basketball game against Southridge. We'll have that game for you on the air with the pregame to start right around 7 o'clock. If the Fort Francis girls hockey team wins this afternoon in Kenora, they'll be playing Tuesday in Dryden in Game 1 of the finals. The Lakers are at Thief River Falls on Tuesday for a 7 o'clock game, and the Viking boys basketball team will be hosting Ely on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the Viking girls basketball team, again, seeding not official yet. I'm watching it on my phone as I talk to you here. That game will be on Wednesday on the road, I believe, at Floodwood. Again, that pregame will start about 6:40 as it's a 7 o'clock game from Floodwood. We'll have that game for you on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. And the Fort Francis boys hockey team will open their championship finals best of 3 series on Wednesday night at home at 7:15. We'll have the pregame to start at about 7 o'clock on KGHS 1230 AM and 95.3 FM. Bronco girls basketball team, the QRF has been changing, but it does look like they're going to end up the number 6 seed and end up going to Duluth Marshall. That game starts at 7 o'clock on Thursday night, pregame about 6:40 on K104. Game 2 of the Norwassa girls hockey semifinals is on Tuesday, and the OFSA Nordic Skiing Championships is Tori Torreseva from Fort Francis will be participating in the Nordic Skiing Championships. On Friday, the men's Rainy River men's basketball team will start play in the region tournament down in the cities at Anoka Ramsey. The Game 2 of the Fort Francis Sioux North Championship Series in the Norwassa will be taking place on Friday night. The Lakers will be at home against Thief River Falls on Friday night. The Viking boys will wrap up their regular season. I think I may have said that about Tuesday's game against Ely. They'll be at Chisholm on Friday to wrap up their regular season. And the Pee Wee A's will be in Hermantown for a 1 o'clock game. Opponent not determined yet. Their opponent is still playing in their district tournament this weekend. And then on Saturday, if either the Viking girls basketball team or the Bronco girls basketball team, next Saturday they'll be playing in the championship or in the quarterfinals. We'll have those games for you on the air. We're also going to have Pee Wee hockey on the air on Saturday next week. Don't forget about that. The Lakers will be at home against Thunder Bay on Saturday, and the Rainy River women's hockey team will be hosting Iowa State next week. That wraps up a very busy show, folks. Thanks to the Bronco girls basketball team for being here. Thanks to head coach Dwayne Rowan of the Fort Francis girls volleyball team for joining me and recording that interview a couple days ago. Thanks to Dave and his staff here for taking care of our guests. Don't forget Fishing Derby coverage coming up on K104 starting at 12:30 and running all the way to 4:30. For everybody at K104 and KGHS, this is Tim Ringhofer wishing you a very good Saturday, very good weekend. You've been listening to Coach's Corner live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com.
This program is brought to you by the Koochiching Area Prevention and Education Coalition. CAPE exists to reduce youth and young adult alcohol and other drug use by promoting safe and healthy choices among all community members.